Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Phil's Corner. As we begin, shout out to Stephen. He says, "Hey Phil, how is your day going?" Happy to say, Stephen, that it's been a good day. A rather wet day here in Huddersfield, in West Yorkshire. But a pretty good day. Good to have you along. And indeed, good to see you all. If you are, of course, tuning in as a regular, welcome back. You know what we're going to be doing tonight. We are going to be jumping on eBay to look at football shirts, to see what football shirts we can find in the wonderful world, the wonderful marketplace of eBay with all its quirks. And if you're new, then you'll soon be able to enjoy that. Welcome, welcome, one and all. As it's been more than a week since we last streamed, of course, as we weren't streaming last week, how have you been? You can jump in the chat, as Stephen has done. Simply chuck in any questions, any comments. It could be about what we're talking about tonight, or it could just be anything else. The chat is there for you to jump in, so please do use that as we go along tonight. And we'll get into some bits of housekeeping as we begin as well. Firstly, if you are watching this and you're not subscribed, and this could be if you're watching this on catch up, maybe you're watching this after the fact, after the live stream itself, you're watching this at your own leisure, at your own time. Maybe you're watching the City Spurs game that's just recently kicked off, whatever it might be. But if you're watching it and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really does make a big difference to a small channel like mine. I think we've just crossed, or we've nearly crossed 3,400 subscribers, which is really sweet. But yeah, do jump in and jump in with a subscription. If you want to support me further as well and get an insight into my journey, my floating journey as a designer, a football shirt designer, which I've been doing various projects for, and I share a lot of that journey with my patrons exclusively, stuff which I can't share on Twitter or YouTube. I have a Patreon. There's other benefits too, such as regular monthly giveaways with some great shirts that I give away from my patrons. So check out my Patreon if you want to know more. The link is in the description. This is every day's game. Well, it has been good, thank you, my friend. It has been good. Excited to be jumping on eBay. Let's get to it as we begin. I will just switch us over to here. And guys, it's a very simple job we have tonight. We are going to search for a very broad term. I've gone with football. Well, I think we'll go football shirt actually. Football kit isn't quite as good on eBay. Football shirt. Tons of results. We'll do ending soonest. So we're going to, I think if we prioritize auctions, again, lots of ways we could do this. But what we're really looking for is anything which I think is good value. Now, on this series over the years, we've had some real wins. One of my best shirts, if not my best shirt in my collection, was found on eBay. It was one of the Total 90 boxed shirts. That was an eBay find for way below market value. I doubt we're going to get anything that good again, but who knows. But the other thing I like to do is also just kind of have a bit of an educational angle to this. So here's a good example, guys. Now, this would not be a good purchase, and I'll tell you why. Current season shirts at this time of year are going to be heavily reduced, and this as an example, assuming it's real, which of course, you know, we're kind of, you have to take that assumption given that so many shirts on eBay are fake. But if this was real, just earlier this week, or was it last week? I forget when it was, but I shared the fact that Everton's club store, which is run by Kitbag, had these shirts for, I believe it was £25 in various sizes. So, you know, if we give this account the benefit of the doubt, we could say maybe they have picked it up before and they're not just trying to flip it for more. But either way, yeah, not a good deal. Steven says you need to get your Field Jags jersey. Given the donation as well, and thank you, Stephen. I didn't even realise I had that set up actually, which is quite funny. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen, for your support. I really appreciate that, my friend. The Jags jersey will have to go on Thursday. And just to prove myself, I'm going to make a note. Because it sounds silly to make a note of what I'm going to wear, but I want to make sure I don't forget. So I'm going to make a note on my second screen here. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate the donation, my friend. There we go. Sweet. I will, unless I completely forget, and I shouldn't now have made a note, I will get that one out on Thursday's stream. Thanks for the super chat, my friend. Yeah, so long and short, pretty much of any current season shirt, guys, I would basically just not. Well, I would shop around before paying for it, or for buying it on eBay. Of course, some shirts, if they're particularly popular, may actually be worth paying, you know, that sort of price for. But the majority will be available very cheap. Now let's look at this Bayern Munich shirt. This is one I actually had in my collection a little while back. Notice the damage on the name set, and I forget what the official name set was. Often around this time, there was less, you know, the fairly generic, generic looking name sets. And you can see this one does look quite generic in style, but the shirt itself, and we have is that a new subscriber? Indeed, if I could actually go there we go. Oh no, that is the very late notification of the super chat. Thank you, Stephen, once again. I realise I need to change that that icon there, don't I? from the little zombie. Oh, brilliant. But yeah, thanks again, Stephen. That was very delayed, but again, I think I need to just sort my my Streamlabs setup there. Yeah, so this, from what I can see here, looks okay. I would have to compare some more pictures, but it's interesting to see the price of this one, £40 with 15 delivery. That seems, again, if this is authentic, that would be a decent price for this shirt. Daredevil, good to see you, Daredevil. As he says, hope you can make it Thursday. Sorry, I hope I can make it Thursday. Depends on what time you start. Excuse me. Usually we are 2 p.m. British summertime. What's GMT? Well, 2 p.m. UK time. I forget. I guess we're in BST now, aren't we? I always get that wrong. I believe, yeah, so 2 p.m. UK time. Going for about an hour and a half to 2 hours that's the plan on Thursday. Yeah, so this shirt, I'm interested to see what this goes for. It's not one I'd be looking to pick up, and I think, you know, even though this is, I would say, again, I would estimate the price of this one to be much higher, you know, much more like at least double this, I would expect, if not more, given that it is quite a popular template. And Dennis has always wondered why Bayern had this Jamaican colourway. It does look quite Jamaican, doesn't it? Now, I forget, I don't know the full story with this one. If we look at their kit history, we'll come to Old Football Shirts, a great site which they use for reference. There's been a smattering of yellow kits, not many at all really, but you can see 89, 91, there's kind of a couple of third kits, and then we had this one. But I forget the origin, whether it could be like a flag, perhaps like a Munich flag. That's often with like odd colorways like this. It could be something like a flag, which can be utilized. You think of like when Juve have blue kits, for example, Juventus. I believe the flag of Turin is blue, so there's that kind of connection. So that would be my guess. In fact, I might be completely wrong in this. There you go. I mean, it's obviously not the same shade there with the teal or the green, but you can see the flag of Munich. So that was a good guess. Or at least, I mean, it's like Borussia Dortmund colours, isn't it? But yeah. So I'm guessing that's where the yellow came from, and then this colour. Again, there'll be a story there, I'm sure. That's all good, Stephen. No problem at all. Yeah, so were we going to bid on this one, we'd probably want to do a bit more research to try and sort of dig a bit deeper, try and understand exactly. Excuse me, I need to really clear my throat. We'd want to do a bit more research to make sure it was real, etc. But £41 on the face of it, that seems like a reasonable deal for whoever's picked that up. Now, a few more shirts from brand new football shirts. It must be said that the ratings on this seller are quite low. Anything other than 100% makes you at least take some notice. 88%, albeit with only 7 reviews, but that is quite bad. So probably a seller. I've got to turn my phone off. Probably a seller which we'd want to avoid anyway. But let's continue. What else do we have? Now we have another shirt from the same seller. This was Rosario, 72 Rosario, who has a decent number of sales. And we've got another early 90s shirt here, this time from Brazil. Now, this is one of those, I must admit, this is a design which I've never really gravitated towards. It is certainly a classic, but it's not one which I've really thought was one of Brazil's better shirts. Having said that, it's certainly got a classic appeal. The name set of Mario doesn't hurt at all either, albeit some slight kind of crimping, but nothing too bad. And it is interesting to note this seller's other shirts. We can see a number of them are selling next week. But there are some interesting pieces here, some very rare pieces. So, anytime you see this particular Napoli shirt, you have to sit up and take notice. And that's reflected in the large price, which, again, these have only become more sought after Maradona's death. But some really nice shirts here. Fun to see the Ferrari. This is an F1 race suit, of course. I didn't know that these were on sale actually, but that's quite fun. Again, a very high price. Anyway, so some really high value, high ticket items here from the seller. This is another shirt like the Bayern shirt, which I would say we're looking at something, again, available for a reasonable price, certainly cheaper than you'd expect to find it. Not a shirt I'm familiar with enough to give a kind of hard and fast definitive yes on the fact it's real, but nothing would put me off based on a first look. Again, the kind of imperfect name set, though not ideal, in some ways, you know, it doesn't necessarily hurt assuming it's been applied in the original fashion. So we won't bid on this one, but it's just another one which is worth noting. And I mean, at the end of the day, at this price, that's considerably better than, say, you know, this deal from this seller we've talked about a bit tonight, Brand New Football Shirts. You know, the price that this will probably go for, I'd assume it would go up a little bit more. But the price that this will go for is most certainly going to be worth it compared to some of these newer shirts. So an interesting kind of selection of kits there as we begin. We've got some shorts. I really like this England Prima shirt, but that of course is in junior size. More from the Brand New Football Shirts really are going all out. I'm just going to see what their I'm going to just quickly look at their reviews. This is something which again I think is interesting to look at. Particularly, of course, the neutral or negative reviews. Hole in the front, so hole not disclosed, not bad. So okay, sure, there's nothing too much there, but as I say, with a rating like that, it definitely makes you pause for thought. They're certainly listed a lot, so they are dominating our early proceedings, but we'll get through their listings and onto some more stuff as we begin. But welcome those who are tuning in. Hope you're all doing well. How have you been? How have you been since you last spoke? What was it? A week and a half plus ago. I'm absolutely buzzing after I picked up completed the Boca Juniors Mercosur Cup, or the Kappa Mercosur Mercosur, however you say it, cup shirts, which has been a long-term kind of goal of mine, so I was really happy to pick that up. And I feel like I'm having bought the shirt now, I'm happy to kind of just it's scratch the itch, that itch we get as collectors, where you kind of want to pick up a shirt every so often. But I'm certainly happy after that purchase. Hope everyone else out there has had similar success. A heads up as well, for those that are watching, my next video will be coming out very soon, and that is going to be an unboxing video. I was actually sent a shirt by UEFA Champions League of all people, through one of their partners. I won't show any more, but I'll basically talk about that in my next video. Daredevil says that 3 shirt pick with them folded over each other was mint. Nice one, Daredevil. Had a lot of fun. There's something I enjoy that especially when you have a set, getting to kind of just fold them a bit, mess around a bit with some kind of, you know, like I'd call them like concepts. Enjoyed that a lot. The Brazil shirt went for £57, so again, like a bit of a late flurry of bids, but still a decent price. Like this I think even more than the Bayern shirt. I would probably expect this one to be slightly more. Like that one, I think this would be pushing £100 market value, possibly more. So decent price. Again, that's just an estimate off the top of my head. I must say, nice to see some of the details on this Real Madrid shirt. I do like that sleeve patch quite a lot. This nameset feels very kind of Inter Milan to me. If you just show me that again without the player name, like just the number, without, you know, that definitely could be an Inter Milan away shirt. Just the style and the colours, of course. But again, some more activity there. So that's interesting to see. But nothing yet that's really persuaded me enough to make a bid. This, of course, is fake, but I must say the Barca Pata collection had something about it, but yeah, that's definitely based on the price alone. I think we can assume that, plus the tag placement. So we continue, we march on. Let's see what else there is in store. I think I mentioned this last stream, but I'm actually looking into streaming simultaneously on Twitter. So this is something which, I'm basically exploring the possibility of, looking at the options. It's probably something I'd look to trial. So maybe just kind of do it for a month or two, see how well received it is. But that could be really cool. Bringing a few more people into the stream, and we'll still, of course, have YouTube as a base, so we'll still be streaming through here. But I think kind of simultaneously streaming on Twitter is something I'd like to try, just to see if it works. As I've mentioned before, of course, my audience on Twitter is much bigger than YouTube, but I've not really streamed. Well, I've not streamed on Twitter, so there's some stuff we'll kind of trial and figure out as we go along. But yeah, that's something we'll do. Likely won't lead to an immediate change of schedule, but of course, if it goes really well, we might do more shows, etc. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Dale says excited to see what Aston Villa and Adidas are going to create. Yeah, man, absolutely same. I think one of the biggest things about that kind of partnership is that Adidas are coming in at the perfect time. Villa have had a fantastic season, and I think whenever a team is doing well, you hope that a brand are going to put their best foot forward. So yeah, excited to see what the future holds. Now, this particular England shirt is one which I would like to add to the collection. Looking at this, what I'm trying to sort of establish, is this real or not? Really, what we want to see is a picture, a simple picture of the inside labels. If we can get that, if we can verify that the shirt is real, then I think this could definitely be one we enter for. Hey Gio, so my boy looking video is like, I don't have an internet at home waiting for him. That is true. Gio, message me now on Slack, and we need to get that sent over. I'm sorry to be to have left that in your house for so long, but so good to have you on the stream. It's been a while, my friend, but I'm glad to see you here live. Yeah, Gio, I'm terrible. I've done that several times, and it's bad when you bought a show and you forget that it's with someone. But thank you for your patience. So what we're going to do is message this seller, and I just want to see a picture of the inside labels. If this is real, this is a shirt which I would like to add to my collection. It's definitely one which I regret not picking up at the time. So, but again, I forget. Basically, we need to get those inside labels. So we'll do a very quick message. Hi, please. I don't know why I'm telling you this. You can read this. Could you send a picture of the inside labels? Thanks. There we go. And of course, we're hoping that they come back to us in a timely fashion, but the shirt, the auction, is ending at 10 to 10, so we'll see. Dad, I was saying, do you think Adidas will treat Newcastle Villa like a B tier team or like elite? So this is an interesting thing, isn't it? Given the profile of both teams, particularly Newcastle, but I would say Villa as well. These are big teams in the biggest league in the world, one of the biggest leagues in the world. So on that, from that perspective, they should really put a lot into it. Whether they do is another question, and I would expect them to be not quite on the top tier, but the sort of elite B tier, if you like. And that would be my expectation, where they still get bespoke kits, but they don't get the kind of full attention with like regular collections. I might be wrong about that, and I think Newcastle, if either of them will, it'll be Newcastle that will get the lion's share of the love. Now, this is a really sweet Mexico kit, which at this price I definitely would want to bid on, though there is a pool. But we need to kind of see some more pictures and verify if it's real. So let's come to that shortly. And Jay says, no problem at all. Have you found anything good today? Some sweet shirts. Not any auctions we've entered, but that could change with this particular Mexico shirt. Now, Mexico have quite a strong history, I would say. They're definitely one of those teams which, though perhaps not in everyone's kind of best international team kit lists, bar a few exceptions, like of course the calendar shirt. Not many people refer to these years, the kind of noughties and 10s years, as some of the best in the world. But I would actually say, if you go and look, they were particularly good, especially with Adidas. Some of these shirts, such as the 2013 shirt or the 2010 shirts, were absolutely top tier. Some of the best, I would say. Now, the 2006 shirt doesn't quite reach the heights of some of those other shirts we mentioned, but it does have a lot of nice features. What I want to now establish is, number one, is this real? So we're going to compare some pictures. This is again just classic research. We do this a lot on the show, where we're basically trying to figure out, is this real? Is this actually the shirt, as far as we can tell? Of course, sometimes we might want to see pictures of labels. It is worth noting, I think, on this listing we do see some, we don't have the all the labels in shot, but that has some things you do want to see. The swoosh does look good, I think, as well, so I feel pretty good about this. Let's also just quickly, before we go to some pictures, let's check out the seller, because again, often fake sellers really give themselves away because of the listings they have. If you see multiple kind of high value shirts in good sizes or stock images or whatever, other things like that, that's not a good sign. But this is much more like what we want to see. A fairly random collection, a mixture of teams, albeit mostly Scottish teams, but that fills you with some confidence. Now let's try and basically find this shirt elsewhere. Of course, alongside trying to find the shirt itself from different sellers, and again we're going to look for that's really strange, it almost looks like a basic version of the shirt there. Curious to see more of that one. Let's go home shirt. I'm not sure exactly what's gone on here. Yeah, that looks like a completely different shirt. Now it could be that well, if we go back to old football shirts, sometimes there are kind of different versions, like basic tier shirts, what we would call basic tier. Unsure what's going on there, but we do have a list in here from Cold Kits. And again, if we then compare to our listing here, this is quite a good comparison here, and that looks very good. In fact, I would say that this looks exactly the same based on those pictures, or indeed very similar. So honestly, feeling pretty confident about this one. Now, the next thing to establish is kind of market value. What is the price we'll be willing to pay? I think, Cold Kits, much like classic football shirts, the big sellers, they tend to charge a huge premium. So we don't know when this was listed. This could have been, years ago. But if we were to say, okay, £90 at Cold Kits, that equates, I would say, to something like £60 for another seller, maybe £50. But if we say £60 as a market value, that to me sounds about right. Maybe a tad more, but it's not a highly sought after kit, although I think it is quite strong. Now we then have to think, well, okay, there is some damage and there is quite a notable pull here. So I'm thinking, ultimately, for this shirt, I'd probably be wanting to pay, well, I'd say the market value is something more like £40, maybe £50. In terms of what I'd want to pay on eBay, I think much less. if I can get this for under 20 quid, I'll be happy. Ideally around 15 quid, I'll be really happy. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Now, of course, we have an auction here. It doesn't end till just before 10 p.m, so it's still an hour and a half's time, but I will stick in a bid. And one thing which we do on the show, which is always quite funny, I'm not, I'm bidding openly. So, of course, any of you can jump in and stick in a bid to overtake me here. But I think if we stick in £16, I'd be pretty happy with that as a price. Now, I should have noted actually the posting packaging, £4.89, so a little bit higher. So I think if we just go for £14, let's do something like £14.40. Which again, that's going to bring us to under 20 quid. We may get outbid, but I'm happy with that as a price. Feeling pretty good that this is real. There is also the kind of added protection that eBay are very, very reasonable with returns. They're almost always, I've never had problems personally sending back shirts that have been fake. Those pulls, I must say, on the front do definitely hurt. But at that price, honestly, it's the kind of shirt, like shirts like this, it's not one I've ever had in person. And for me, and I talked about this in my recent video on collective fatigue, I kind of like picking up a shirt almost just to have in my hands, see what it's like. And of course, you can wear it. Sometimes shirts prove to be quite comfortable, and they end up kind of being part of my rotation for when I'm, playing five-a-side or what have you. Other shirts get sold on, sometimes at profit, sometimes not. But yeah, Daredevil, Nike has some decent kits. I really think Mexico, again, are definitely one of those teams who deserve a lot of love. We'll just quickly return to their kit history. Of course, in recent years, they've had some real standouts that have been popular in the community. And I actually do quite like their current set of kits. I'm looking to pick up one of those at some point. I think they've had some really interesting designs. The Toast 90 kits are a lot of fun. Oh, it'll be fun to find a boxed one of those. They are even more rare than the South Korea ones, but that would be pretty sweet. Yeah, lots of good stuff there, lots of good stuff. And let's see. Well, the stream we're going to jump off stream, in about 20 minutes, half an hour. But I will report on Thursday with how that goes. Let's continue. A bit of Leeds action, of course. They're in the playoffs this week. And living in Huddersfield, I know a lot of Leeds fans. Some of my friends are big Leeds fans, so watching that one with interest. Now, as primarily a Boca Juniors collector, I would struggle to buy many River Plate shirts, but this is an interesting shirt I've not seen before. And a couple of things. One, I want to basically figure out more about the shirt, because again, I don't recall this particular design. So let's have a look. We're 2012 according to the listing. And are we here? 2013 perhaps, I think, is maybe what we're looking at. Still not much in the way of pictures, so let's have a look. And again, we're basically trying to, I guess it's this shirt here, not very good quality, kind of an Ajax style River Plate shirt there. Looks pretty good. I mean, the thing is with this now, let's now check if this player is real. Again, this is kind of, you see the questions that I'm asking here, the questions I think, we all ask, don't we? Is this player real? Is the next question, because sometimes you do have a custom name set. Now we can see here, not only is this player real, but he was at River Plate during this time. I honestly don't have any memory of Lionel Vangioni, despite him playing at the likes of River and AC Milan. So he's had a decent little career there. But anyway, clearly real. The name set, I believe that was the name set at the time. Now, I think were this in a medium or large, I'd be tempted. Though 30 quid isn't cheap, it's the kind of shirt which I think I would be pretty confident I could then pass on. Now the Adidas logo, to me, I'm not sure if that is authentic. There's something a bit off about that for me, and I would also want to figure out more from the seller. I honestly would have to do a bit more due diligence on this one. We will pass on it, but again, I think it's worth kind of noting, talking about the fact that sometimes you do just need to check, was that actually a player? Because it's funny the amount of times you do have a custom name set, which I think in terms of value, when you have a shirt that has someone's name on it, it impacts the value massively, negatively of course. Now here's a very interesting listing. This is a City shirt, but it immediately catches my eyes because it is long sleeve, and that is always a good thing. Now other elements to note, it appears to be reasonable. The swoosh looks slightly dodgy, but the kind of quality control on the swoosh definitely has ebbed and flowed over the years, and this was definitely a period where you had slightly more dodgy swooshes, although it almost looks like a different swoosh, doesn't it, in those two pictures. But this looks like a reasonable price, and again, as a Liverpool fan, this likely would have been one I'd keep in my collection. But at 20 quid, that's not bad. I don't think we'll go for it. Worth noting, again, another seller with quite low ratings. There's been a few tonight. It must be said, if we look here, trying to kind of understand more about the seller, and they've had, again, like 93%, it's just not good as a whole. Even if the listings weren't for football related items, it's just stuff like that which does at least put you off. We'll move on from it, but that one would probably be worth more attention. If I had more affinity with City, I think I'd be a bit more interested. But definitely an interesting listing. Will we see anything else before we wrap up? Lots of jackets, some kind of training wear, pre-match stuff. There's a bit of a score draw number on the subject of folding shirts. Has that kind of feel. What else can we find? Again, as I did mention, given my recent purchases, I'm not in a rush to pick up anything. Sometimes something is too good to pass up. So I won't say 100% no. We are here just in case, because guys, you never know. Though I don't, shop on eBay every night or anything like that, I do have fond memories when I started my kind of collecting journey. I would spend a lot of time just scrolling through eBay, scrolling through classic football shirts, and often I would just say to myself, right, I'm going to kind of stop scrolling after 5 more shirts that I kind of click on to view more, kind of thing, or whatever. Set some sort of limit, because otherwise I could genuinely whittle away a whole evening, which is quite sad. But I'm a little bit into these pieces of clothing. It's fair to say, but not seeing too much as we continue to scroll. But that's okay. We need patience given the amount of listings. This particular Roma shirt is a really sweet one. Now there is quite a lot of damage to the Mazda sponsor, which is a real shame. Honestly, even with the damage, I'd be tempted at 20 quid. I think I'll pass. But again, like, this ends Wednesday 7, so a bit of time if you are into Roma shirts, this is definitely a must for the collection. This is again one that's passed through my hands. I think I want to say it was at least 7-8 years ago that I had one of these, which I picked up from eBay, funnily enough. And of course, it's worth noting as well, a Kappa XL is actually going to fit more like a kind of medium. So it's actually quite a good size, really, or for me who shops either medium or large, this would actually be completely fine. But with the damage on the sponsor, obviously that does impact the value quite a bit. Now, if this had a perfect sponsor, I think this is definitely the kind of shirt which, despite not being super rare, they've said it's rare, but really you do find them around. I'd estimate this one to be, again, like before, the values we're talking about kind of 70-80 quid probably for one in excellent condition. With this condition, you'd probably drop that price quite a bit. But I do personally, I think these Roma shirts have something about them, because I think the Kappa era was so iconic. Cheers to April. I'm head out soon. I want to say I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you on Thursday. Thank you, Stephen. Thanks again for your super chat. Really appreciate that, mate. Yeah. Have a great couple of days, and I hope to catch you on Thursday. So there we go. That's Roma. We'll leave that one there. Leave that sitting with no bids at 20 quid. But I do really like that Kappa. That Kappa era, I think, is absolutely I think it's incredible. This Liverpool shirt, it's interesting to see this get a lot of action. This was very popular at the time. Another shirt which I've had in my collection. I had in my collection at one point and then sold on. I do like it in the long sleeves there, and you can see 50 quid. So a shirt which has retained its value. This one was one which again became very popular with not just fans, but even those outside of the fan base, reflected in the action there. 50 quid and more potentially for quite a modern shirt. Of course, some shirts do gain value over time, but some, it varies a lot. Other shirts, especially if they end up making it to this stage of the season, like current season shirts that are being sold now, that are in the end of season sales, of course, can really kind of drop quite a lot in value in terms of going from like a 60-70 quid retail or more to like as low as 20-30 quid. Just looking at this shirt here, I think was this the same seller actually as the other Roma shirt? Should have a look. It was, yeah. So this one again with a better quality sponsor, or there's a bit more integrity on the sponsor, more of a worn name set there, which sadly is kind of consistent with age. You do see a lot of these, this kind of style of sponsor. This is another. I mean, this is perhaps the best of the bunch I've looked at, and I have to say, guys, this is one which I think I want to now see what are kind of reasonable prices. For me, this is absolutely one of the best noughties kits, early noughties kits, and one which I really would like to pick up. I think I'm most interested in this one, though this has the name set. I think the damage does hurt it slightly, but I now want to figure out, okay, what is the going rate for this Roma shirt, how available is it, etc., and then what sort of offer do you want to make. Now 75 quid seems a little bit rich, but that's probably probably even a bit less than you'd expect to see it on Classic, for example. I'd expect them to charge at least 85-90 quid, but it's definitely a little bit rich. But it is in a good size for us. XL for a Kappa shirt, that's pretty much the sweet spot. So two things again. Well, not so much is it real, because I do think that looks pretty good to me. We can Google some of the codes later to double check, but what is the market value of this? That's kind of the question I want to ask now as we look at this. So we're looking at the 2002. This is down as a cup shirt here. So European home, yep, that makes sense. So now we want to establish, okay, what is this selling for? Now we've got vintage football shirts here. Again, if we just kind of look at some other listings, we're basically trying to figure out what are people selling these shirts for. Now we've got an XXL here from Classic, 125 quid. A fully badged Totti shirt. Now this is again the same size. The name set makes a big difference with the patch. It's 250, so very high price. So again, with key things obviously there, such as the fact it is long sleeves, it makes a big difference. Now here is a very damaged, in fact a hugely damaged shirt, and it's absolutely, I mean, it's a good thing that Classic actually provided an actual picture for a start, but that is not a 5 out of 10. I think you'd be generous to call that a 2 out of 10 in all honesty, and it's crazy that that's priced at that amount. But anyway, I digress. I think for a sponsorless version, I think this is probably actually around a little bit more than market value, but if we can get this for a lot less, I'll be happy. Now we've still got 6 days to go, so I think what we'll do is we'll watch the item, we'll stick on the watch list. That's the kind of shirt which I'd like to stick in an offer, 30 quid, maybe even 40 quid. The seller might not buy it, and it's unlikely the seller would sell at that price, but I think the main thing for me is to kind of keep an eye on it, and actually what we can do is also kind of try and find the shirt elsewhere. Now there's other listings here for a lot of money, so I may be completely undercooking the value of this. I said kind of 90 quid. Based on a quick look around, I think 100 quid wouldn't actually be too far off, but there's other things to note. It doesn't have the sponsor, which some people would prefer the sponsor. In fact, okay, so it's actually interesting. Noted on the listing is the fact the sponsor came off. Now, it's so clean that it almost doesn't bother me too much, but that is actually quite notable. Because you've got to think with sponsors. Sometimes a team played in a shirt with or without the sponsor. You often see this with beer sponsors or betting sponsors on European kits, which wouldn't have been allowed in certain countries, etc. For those instances, a sponsorless shirt actually doesn't have any impact on value. If a team didn't play in a shirt sponsorless, or a team only played in a kit with a sponsor, I should say, yeah, you get my gist, then not having the sponsor is a negative on the value of the shirt. So I think we need to do more digging on this, because if Roma never played in the shirt without the sponsor, that does impact the value. I would drop a fair chunk off my valuation of the shirt based on that. It doesn't mean I wouldn't stick in an offer, but it would lower the kind of amount I'm willing to pay. Though it is a very clean break, there seems to be no residue or mark, which is a good thing. So again, it wouldn't put me off completely. But there's definitely some things to consider there. So a very interesting Roma shirt there. We will definitely, I'll definitely revisit that one later in the week. Do some more research, figure out what the deal is. But I think we might call it a night there, as I just scroll through, and I'm not seeing. Yeah, there's some random kind of fakes there. We've got one of the things we have to do as well is just laugh at some of these fakes. A hilarious attempt at the United shirt from a few years ago. Man, they've captured something of the real shirt, if I was being very jealous. But yeah, let's end on this Roma shirt. And in fact, well, no, we also had, of course, if we just jump in, we've got the Mexico shirt. So this is, the only auction that we entered tonight, but this could be a pickup. We'll see if any late bids come in. There is some damage here, but all in all, I'm excited at this possibility. If we can get this for under 20 quid, I'll be happy. not a crazy deal by any means, but way below, I would say way under half of what you'd expect to see this elsewhere. With the damage, again, it kind of tempers the excitement slightly, but still happy overall. And there we go. As we finish, thank you to those who tuned in. A short but sweet stream. Looking forward to Thursday. We've got the hot wall, and there's a lot of shirts for us to talk about, guys. We've got, well, hopefully we can fit them all in one afternoon. We'll do our best. But yeah, we've got a lot of new kits, and new kits are going to keep coming. We really are entering new kit season now, so the hot wall weeks are going to be busier. I might have to extend to kind of 3 hours maybe when it gets really busy. We shall see, but yeah, excited to be chatting to them. I had to remember to get out the Jags jersey as well for Stephen. But yeah, that should be sweet. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out as always. Whether you're new, whether you're a returning face, and indeed, if you're, again, I say this every time because I think it's important. A number of you I know watch this after when it's gone live, and thank you for doing that. If you do, thank you for supporting the channel. Every view, every like, comment, subscription, it does make a difference, and I really appreciate it. So thank you. We will leave it there though, and again, I will just mention Thursday will be live from about 2 p.m. So 2 p.m. British time. If you're around, do jump on for the hot wall. If not, I think we'll be back next week. As far as I know, there's nothing else in my diary, so I'm just going to look at my calendar. Yeah, I think we'll be back on next week for eBay, so I can keep you up to date or update you on the Mexico shirt, and if we do go in for the bid for the Roma shirt, I'll also give you an update on that one as well. But we'll see what else we can find next week. But thank you for tuning in tonight. I will head to the outro screen. But yeah, hope you'll have a good rest of your evening. Hope you have a good rest of your week if I didn't speak to you before. And I will see you very soon. Take care. Thank you, Gio. You too, my friend. See you guys in a bit.